What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Offer on the Table. I'm John, and with me here is Adam.
What's up?
Anyway, here's the rundown of how this particular show is going to work. Usually we take current events from the NBA, and we talk about that, discuss that, but...
Everybody's sick and tired of free agency, so we're going to take a break.
Yes, we're going to take a little breather from free agency, and we're actually going to draft teams today, all-time teams. So we're going to choose... We each chose 13 players and a few backups, and we're going to draft our all-time team that we would pick, as if we were drafting. So, the way this is going to work, it's going to work serpentine style. So the way that works is the first pick goes to one person, and then the next two picks go to the second person, and the next two picks after that go to the other person.
So on and so forth.
Yep. All right. Adam, care to start us off?
Oh, I've been granted first pick?
Adam has been granted first pick.
Let's get it.
So, let's do it.
All right, with my first pick in the draft, I will take the GOAT, Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Because, I mean, honestly, if you pick anyone else with the first pick, you're high. He's just unbelievable, best player of all time. It's a waste of a pick if you don't take him.
All right, with my first pick and the second pick in the draft, I will be taking Magic Johnson.
Interesting pick.
Magic Johnson is a player that is a point guard but can play all positions, and I think he's very versatile, and so do many other people. Moving on to my next pick, I will be going with Kobe Bryant.
Really? Okay. All right, any story behind that, or you're just rocking with Kobe?
Well, you took MJ, so
okay.
Gotta go with Kobe Bryant there.
All right, then. I am going to take... Well, actually, you know what? Hold on. Let's think about this. I already picked MJ, so I'm looking at a pretty solid two-guard. But I need to accompany him with a strong mate in the backcourt. So I'm going to pick Oscar Robertson. Triple-double king, one of the greatest players of all time. And then I'm also going to slide down there and let's take LeBron so you can't. Your pick.
All right. With my next two picks, I will be going with... God, you're really running me out of options here.
Yep.
Totally forgot about LeBron. But I will be going with Larry Bird, and I will be picking Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay. That's a bummer, but okay.
Bummer for you?
I did have Bird. I liked Larry Bird. I think everyone does. But, let's see here. So, now we're rocking and rolling. Team Adam, a.k.a. Team Squad Goals.
Oh, wait. I didn't even give my reasoning for this.
Go ahead.
Shaquille O'Neal, arguably the most dominant player in the world ever. He'll body people in the post, also play good defense. Larry Bird is the better version of Kevin Durant, in my opinion. He can shoot and he can play defense. And he's pretty... Well, he's Kevin Durant's taller, but I think that just Larry Bird's a bigger body. All right, sorry. Back to you.
Well, I think you're an idiot, and with my next pick, I will take Kevin Durant. And then to round out my starting lineup, I'm looking for a dominant center, a guy who's going to match up well with Shaq. And in my book, that is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Alrighty. Okay. With my next pick, I will be taking my backup point guard, and that person will be Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
And my starting power forward is going to be Dirk Nowitzki.
Interesting.
Kyrie Irving, such a good ball handler, good finisher. Dirk Nowitzki, he has a post game, and I'm looking forward to just dishing it inside to him.
Well, I think since you took Kyrie, it's only right that I fight back with the point guard of my own. I'm going to take Steph Curry, arguably best shooter of all time, sets the record for most threes made in a season as well as in a playoff game. I mean, obviously, a lot of haters out there, not a fan. I am not a huge fan of him myself, but I respect him immensely as a player.
I do too. Just because I'm a LeBron fan, it doesn't mean that I don't respect his game. I respect Kevin Durant's game. He was the best player in this year's finals. Curry.
Easily.
Okay, look, I'm trying to be...
All right, well, let me take my next pick, then you can talk all you want. So I took Curry for the backup point guard spot. For the backup 2-guard, I'm rocking with my man T-Mac. 6'9" 2-guard. He's a matchup nightmare in my book. I like his game. He can do a lot, so that's who we're rolling with.
All right. I will be taking Julius Irving because he's a very he's just your typical textbook small forward in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's like the right size. That sounds. Yeah, he's what
you.
he's supposed to be. And he can drive. He does some nice stuff, and he can shoot. So really, that is the textbook definition of a small forward. And I'm also going to be taking. Oh, this is a tough choice. Russell Westbrook. I will be taking Russell Westbrook with my next pick.
So is Russell Westbrook going to be like kind of a reserve player for you, since you already have a backup point guard?
I'm going to look to kind of, because Russell Westbrook I think can stretch out to the 2. So okay. I'm going to put him there. Please don't use that against me. Don't exploit that. Are you using this to exploit it?
What?
Are you asking me my game plan?
No. I'm just wondering, since you already picked a backup point guard, so I was making sure that you were aware of that. So we're looking at Team Adam. It's looking Gucci right now, but I'm gonna need a 3 and then probably a big man. John knows this. I am not a huge fan of a natural power forward. I really don't care about them, honestly. And you're looking at a video game like 2K. It's kind of non-existent. And in NBA, yes, Anthony Davis. He's a power forward. He's great. A lot of respect for Anthony Davis, but that's not the way that I would build my team. So I like to go with a 2 small forward lineup in terms of small forward and a power forward. But I'm going to save that other small forward for the next round. Instead, we are going to go with Vince Carter and use him interchangeably alongside T-Mac, either one of them at the 2, one of them at the 3. And then I'm going to pick a big man, a center to really anchor my team, and that is going to be Hakeem Olajuwon.
Interesting. With my next pick, I'm going to be taking Tim Duncan because I believe in the use of a 4.
Okay.
Because, first of all, by the way, I did get the locker code for 2K for those of you who play. That was a long locker code. People got it 20 minutes after, but I will be taking him as my power forward on the backup. Now, Adam told me that 17 players is enough, and you won't need more than that. But I'm kind of running out of options here. He has 25 options.
Well, okay, let's clarify for those who don't know. Options basically meant we made a pool of players that we were looking to choose for our team, just in case, rather than spewing off the top of my head being like, oh, who am I going to pick? It's more of a pool of players that I would want to add to my team, so in case he took a player that I wanted, or I just, rather than try and come up with one on the spot, we made a pool. So I came up with 25 players that I would want on my team. He came up with 17. That's what he meant by options.
Yes, thanks for clarifying.
And with your next pick, who would you like?
With my next pick, I'm going to go with Karl Malone. Or not Karl Malone, sorry, Bill Russell.
Bill Russell, okay.
Just because also, big man, I love someone who can block. I love someone who can defend inside. That's really important, especially when you have Shaquille O'Neal and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar out on the court. It's very important.
Yeah, I'm looking at this lineup, and I'm kind of not liking that I got T-Mac and Vince. I like T-Mac and I like Vince, but they're a little undersized for the positions that they're at. So I'm also going to add a second center rather than going with another small forward. So we are going to pick Wilt Chamberlain to play alongside Hakeem Olajuwon for the bench squad. And with the next pick, these are kind of just players that we could throw into a lineup, not necessarily going to see a bunch of playing time, but more of a reserve or someone who I can just bring in, provide that spark off the bench. I'm looking at Dwayne Wade to do that for me. I like Wade. You look back at his younger years, incredible, taking that 2006 NBA Heat team, winning the championship alongside Shaq as he kind of approached the end of his career. Dwayne Wade, I think he's still doing great things, and he's a guy I want on my team.
All right, so we're coming down to our last few picks here. I still have to pick 3 more players. Adam has only 2 more. So these are my next 2 picks. James Harden and Paul George.
Okay.
I think James Harden, obviously, well, he's the MVP now, but he can score the ball. Not very good on defense, but he makes up for it with, like, constant offense, 3-pointers, driving inside, getting fouled, free throws. I think that's a good thing. Paul George, also, I don't know if I would call it, he's not as textbook as Julius Erving, but he can definitely, I like small forwards when they have, tend to have bigger bodies because that helps them more on defense, even if they're not particularly great at defense. So that's why I'm picking Paul George. Paul George is 6'9", I believe, and he's long-armed and he can probably defend. And I also got help in the paint, so defense on the 3 wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be top priority right now. So those are my picks.
So now we're looking at my last 2 picks. I originally in my pool, I had this guy written as like one of my peg starters until you took him from me. I wanted Dr. J. I agree with you. Dr. J, probably one of the greatest players to ever play. One of the best with acrobatic finishes, and just the stuff that he could do was unmatched. So I went for pretty much what I can do closest to Clyde Drexler, or to Dr. J, and that will be Clyde Drexler. Drexler, another acrobatic finisher, a guy who can really put it on the floor, take it to the hoop, solid mid-range, a really versatile scorer, and still athletic enough, can play a little bit of defense. He's not a superstar, not a stud by any means, but definitely a quality scorer. And with my last pick in the draft, I am actually...
He just gave me a smile, like this is about to hurt.
No, it's not. It's probably not someone that you saw coming, but I am actually going to take Carmelo Anthony. You should see the look on Sean's face right now. I know it's a little unorthodox of a pick. It's a little strange.
Unorthodox?
But I'm thinking, like...
The bitch averaged 16 points this season. We just talked about this.
I know, but if you think back, Carmelo Anthony on the Nuggets was one of the greatest players of his time.
Facts.
Carrying the U.S. national team to a couple gold medals. Really, really good player. I think the whole league was shook when he went to New York and had the success he did there. Now he's kind of fallen off, and I think we're starting to forget the skill that he brought with him to the Nuggets. So, yeah, with those 3 reserves, Dwayne Wade, Clyde Drexler, and Carmelo Anthony, I'm really looking for a punch, a little extra scoring pop to help out the squad. And that's the squad. Team squad goals, as I'm calling it, because it's really a solid team. 2 players that I was thinking about, but I ended up not going for. Really a dynamic duo of sorts. Tremendous players of their time, Stockton and Malone. So,
I was about to say that those were the 2 players that were on my list that I wasn't really necessarily going to take. I wasn't looking to do that. Again, I kind of understand Adam with his point of view where he says that he doesn't run much of his offense through the 4, or he would like to at least. So this leads me down to my last pick. I think I'm going to go with Karl Malone.
Okay.
I just said wasn't looking to pick him. You didn't pick him, but I did just because I wanna keep Tim Duncan and Dirk Nowitzki on rotation, especially since I'm not gonna be using them much, especially as the reserves. I'm not looking to use them particularly as much, and I think that's the team. So how about let's do a rundown. Each of us will state our team, and we'll see what we're going to do after that. Cut this out.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead. Who you got?
All right. My team is Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, Dirk Nowitzki, Shaquille O'Neal, with Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Julius Erving, Tim Duncan, and Bill Russell on the bench, with my reserves being Paul George, Karl Malone, and Russell Westbrook.
Definitely a good team. A lot of star power. I like that starting lineup.